So, have you ever had that dream? You know the one, where you're walking the same streets your ancestors did back in Italy. It's this incredibly powerful idea, right? A real homecoming. But then reality hits, and the planning just feels huge. And that price tag? Whoa. Well, today, we're gonna bust three big myths that might be holding you back from making that dream trip a reality. Just picture it for a second. You're actually there, walking on these sun-drenched cobblestones in some tiny, beautiful Italian village. You can smell the salt from the sea, and then you step inside this ancient church, and it's so cool and quiet. See, this is way more than a vacation. It's a feeling, a deep connection. You're literally standing where your family's entire story began. So that's the dream. It's beautiful. But then comes the dilemma. How in the world do you get from that amazing vision in your head to actually holding a boarding pass without getting totally lost in the logistics or, let's be honest, draining your bank account? It's a really common roadblock, and it stops so many people right in their tracks. And that is the big question, isn't it? There's this little voice in the back of your head, this fear that you'll spend a fortune and just end up on some generic tour that completely misses that personal connection you're really looking for. Yeah, this number is a huge reason why. You do a quick search for heritage tours, and bam, you're hit with companies that have these five-figure price tags. It's enough to make that lifelong dream feel completely, totally out of reach. But what's really interesting is the contrast happening right now. On one side, sure, you have the big, all-inclusive packages from companies like Italy Mondo. They can be great, but they are very expensive. But on the other side, a whole new model is popping up, one that's way more flexible and honestly, a lot more accessible. So let's just dive in and tackle that first myth head on. The idea that a truly meaningful ancestry journey is some kind of luxury that's only for the super wealthy. That's just not true anymore. And this right here shows the new way forward perfectly. Instead of having to make one single massive investment, you can take smaller, much more affordable steps. For instance, you could start with something like a hometown quick check or a feasibility package for just a couple $100. You confirm your ancestral town before you even think about committing to a big custom itinerary. It's a total game changer. And what's most important here is the feeling this creates. This new approach gives you options. It gives you control. And that leads to this incredible, profound sense of relief. When you realize, wow, my dream isn't just a fantasy. It's something I can actually really do. Okay, next up is the go big or go home myth. You know, the idea that bigger is always better. That you have to go with a massive travel company that covers all of Italy to have the best, most personal heritage trip. But the truth is, when it comes to your family's history, hyperlocal expertise is priceless. Just imagine a specialist in, say, Puglia, whose own family has lived in the very same village for generations. Their knowledge doesn't come from a textbook. It's personal. It's literally in their bones. And this quote from the source just says it all. Those larger companies, they simply can't copy that deep, intimate local knowledge. The resources just get stretched way too thin in the exact little towns your family might actually be from. A specialist's passion. That becomes your single greatest asset. So what does this actually mean for you? Well, it means having a guide who knows everyone at the local market, just like you see here. They know the perfect time to visit for a local festival, and this is the most important part, they might even be a fellow descendant who just gets it. They understand how much this journey means because they've lived a version of it themselves. And this leads us to our third and maybe most important myth, the idea that you can buy authenticity. There is a massive difference between a luxury vacation and a truly authentic homecoming. And it's a difference that money can't always buy. Look, a big company can absolutely book you into a five-star hotel, and it'll be comfortable and predictable and beautiful, but it can also feel, well, a little impersonal, disconnected from the real reason you're even there. Now, contrast that with this. This is not a tourist cooking class. This is a real evening in a real family's kitchen, sharing food, sharing stories. It's unscripted, it's heartfelt, and it comes from a specialist's personal connections, something you can't just find in a brochure. And this is what it all comes down to. True authenticity? It's not found in high-end amenities. It's found in these one-of-a-kind stories and these goosebump moments of real, genuine human connection. That's the stuff you'll remember forever. And that authenticity, it also extends to how every single traveler is cared for.
The very best planners are building inclusivity right into their missions. They're designing sensory-adapted itineraries with neurodivergent overlays for travelers with autism or ADHD. They're crafting healing center journeys for cancer survivors. I mean, this is a level of compassion that goes way beyond just logistics.
So let's bring it all together. By busting these myths, what we see is a whole new path opening up. A path that's more accessible, more authentic, and way more deeply personal than you might have ever imagined. Ultimately, this is the goal. This is the feeling everyone is looking for. It's not just about seeing a place, it's about experiencing it, feeling that powerful electric connection to your own history. It's a feeling that people say is just priceless.
Because really, this kind of trip is so much more than a vacation. It's a journey of the heart. It's a chance to connect your past with your present, to find a sense of peace and grounding in the country that literally shaped your family's story. So I guess the only question left is the one for you. Somewhere in a small town in Italy, your family's story is just waiting to be rediscovered. What story is waiting for you?